Today on CFCN News, Eric Lamaze stays at home. He won't be jumping in Sydney. On edge in the Okanagan, police try to track down letter bombs. In medical news, a surprise breast cancer finding that questions the whole point of mammograms.
CFCN News with Carrie Doll and Ian White.
Good afternoon. Eric Lamaze will not be going to Sydney for the 2000 Summer Olympics.
Early this morning, the show jumper lost his bid to rejoin the Canadian team. The Canadian Olympic Association says Lamaze breached the standard athletes agreement by taking drugs. On Monday, an adjudicator accepted the exceptional circumstances surrounding Lamaze's use of cocaine and lifted his lifetime ban from competition. Lamaze tested positive for the banned substance in late August. And we'll know later in the day what Lamaze plans to do next. He is holding a press conference this afternoon. And we, of course, will have all the details on our news tonight at 5 and 6 o'clock.
They haven't been charged with murder, but 3 Calgary men are facing charges in connection with the death of Denver Wade Lee. Lee's body was found floating in Ghost Lake September 9th by a fisherman. 33-year-old Raymount Susan and 21-year-old Kunli Adeshina are both charged with unlawful confinement and uttering a death threat. 46-year-old Robert LeBlanc of Calgary was charged with unlawful confinement. So far, police aren't saying if the 3 will be charged with Lee's murder.
Tension between 4 northern Alberta doctors were so out of control, the hospital board in Fairview, Alberta had to put a code of conduct in place. Dr. Abraham Cooper is accused of killing Dr. Doug Snyder last year. His body has never been found. Yesterday, a former hospital administrator testified that bickering among the doctors was so bad, a code of conduct was drafted. 3 of them signed it, but Cooper did not. The trial continues in Edmonton today.
I'm David Spence from the CFCN Skywatch Weather Center. The big word is snow. It's going to start later on this afternoon, maybe this evening, and continue through the day tomorrow. There's a look at the cloud cover that's going to start producing precipitation in about an hour or so. It'll start off as rainfall and then turn to snow through the night. Those numbers are all wrong. Don't believe a word of what you see there. We'll have precipitation. Today's high about 9. Tomorrow about 4 will be the best we can do with the snow. We'll have all the correct graphics in the forecast for you later on.
All right, thanks, David. The high cost of energy is having an impact on school boards across Alberta. However, many boards did not budget for such a large increase. Last night, trustees for the Calgary Public School Board refused to allot any funding increases to their utilities budget. The board estimates it will cost them between $2.5 and $4 million more for heating and lighting schools in Calgary. Calgary plans to band together with other school boards to approach the Klein government for help.
We would like them to cover those additional costs. Part of the reason Alberta has this tremendous surplus is high energy costs that benefits our province. It should not penalize our public institutions. We're definitely waiting to hear from the government, not just waiting, but going to approach them regularly on this issue, because we can't just wait and see, because if fuel costs continue to increase, it could be more than $4 million from our budget, and we are required to come in balanced on our budget, and we have no intention of cutting services to our children to pay for fuel costs.
And the board also wants to talk to the province about high gas and diesel costs.
A grizzly bear that was recently caught in Kananaskis country has got a lot of people upset. It's now in quarantine at the zoo, and officials are searching for another zoo to take it permanently. Everyone involved admits that this is not the perfect solution. However, this bear symbolizes what is happening to all bears in our area. One of the world's leading bear experts says they are on their way to extinction. Our Murray Dale reports.
Numerous trails remain closed a month after a grizzly attacked cyclists near Canmore and hikers near Nikiska. When DNA testing proved a female trapped in the Evan Thomas this week was responsible for both attacks, she was taken to a holding facility at the Calgary Zoo. They will attempt to find it a permanent home. Dr. Mike Chabot says the decision to remove the bear is a devastating blow to the grizzly population. He is the principal researcher on the Eastern Slopes Grizzly Bear Project.
The Boulder Valley has completely unregulated and in some cases rampant human use. These bears end up being bounced around from one human disturbance to another like they're in some giant pinball machine. And some bears just end up not being able to take that kind of continued disturbance.
There are no easy answers here, but this is a tragedy nevertheless. Public demand for safe access to the backcountry has become paramount, and the welfare of the grizzly bear becomes secondary. This is a tragedy because this is a healthy sow exhibiting aggressive but normal animal behavior. And because she's probably between 12 and 15, she'll be unable to adapt.
This is the extinction process in action as we incrementally impose on a grizzly bear's landscape, and over time individual bears get taken out of the system so that in the end there are none left.
The 60-plus club from Renfrew spent the day in Kananaskis country and spoke with a single voice regarding the fate of the grizzly.
That's why we're here in Alberta and Canada, and don't put them behind bars. I think that's cruel.
Conservation officers from Kananaskis country say the decision to put the grizzly in a zoo wasn't easy, but because of its history, their only other option was to put it down.
Lots of people are using that area where the bear uses as a home range. And the bear doesn't have really anywhere to feed, really, where it isn't going to run into people.
The trails that were closed this summer and fall will be studied for further bear activity, and depending on the result, annual closures will be considered. In Kananaskis country, Murray Dale, CFCN News.
The grizzly's 4-year-old cubs were released back into Kananaskis country. They will be monitored through data collected from their radio collars. People in Kelowna, BC are a little on edge when they pick up their mail these days. 2 letter bombs have surfaced in the city in the past week. The latest on Monday night slightly hurt 2 people. At first, RCMP thought the bombs might be connected with the recent opening of an abortion clinic in Kelowna, but now they say there is no link. John Daly reports.
The latest bomb was sent to a super mailbox. The man with his wife in the car were in the driveway of their Winfield home.
They opened up the package and it exploded. Fortunately, there was no serious injuries. The nature of their minor injuries were only bruising and some charring of the clothing due to the explosion.
This was the first parcel bomb sent to Kelowna's Okanagan-Similkameen Health Unit. The RCMP Explosives Disposal Unit blew it up Friday.
It's possible that another package could be in the mail system. We'd like that not to be delivered, obviously, to the intended receiver. So
a parcel at the post office. No, we're not going to open it. You're serious? No, I know what it is. But I just picked one up. But no, I hadn't heard that. Is that upsetting? You hear that? Yes, it is upsetting.
That is scary, though. Scary out here, especially.
That's terrible. Like, what kind of nut lives out in this kind of world wants to send somebody a bomb? Like
makes you wonder.
It makes you stop and think, where's this country going?
In other national news, the dispute over lobster fishing rights may be coming to a peaceful end. Mediator Bob Ray has worked out a tentative deal in the dispute. Natives and fisheries officers will count lobster traps in Miramichi Bay today and remove the unlicensed ones. Native fishermen say they're not making a concession. They say there's just no need for so many traps in the water at this time of the year.
One of Canada's most experienced premiers is considering leaving provincial politics. Roy Romano says he'll make an announcement soon about his plans. The New Democrat has been the premier of Saskatchewan since 1991. But reports say the Liberals are trying to convince Romano to run for them in the next federal election. With Foreign Affairs Minister Lloyd Axworthy about to retire, Romano would give the Liberals a high-profile replacement from the prairies. It's still unclear whether yesterday's flight from Cuba was a hijacking or an attempt for freedom.
1 person died and 9 others survived after crashing into international waters off the Florida Keys. Andrew Colton has all the details.
On a cargo ship in the Gulf of Mexico, the Cuban survivors of yesterday's small plane crash now say their trip was a flight to freedom, not a hijacking. In Miami, Anxious relatives of the 9 survivors say this was the only way for their loved ones to get out of Cuba.
Everybody feels terrible. You see a lot of people around. Everybody's family here. You know, everybody call everywhere. Everybody try to get some information.
And you're just waiting?
Just waiting, that's it. It's unbelievable.
Cuban authorities say the government-owned plane, a Russian-built Antonov AN-2, was stolen Tuesday morning. It's a crop duster, also used for passenger flights. As Cuban air traffic controllers tracked it on radar, they told controllers in Miami the plane was hijacked and headed for Florida. But the plane crashed in the Gulf. The Coast Guard launched a massive search. For hours, nothing. But then this cargo ship found the survivors. 3 men, 3 women, 3 children, clinging to parts of the plane. They were rescued. 1 man was found dead.
It was a very large rescue attempt. We had a large piece of water that we're searching because we had a couple locations where the plane may have gone down. So again, we got all our available assets out there because we heard, people were in trouble on the water in a crashed plane, and we wanted to get them to safety as quickly as possible.
As the Coast Guard headed to the cargo ship, a Carnival cruise ship in the area made a dramatic rendezvous. The cruise ship's doctor boarded the cargo ship to examine the survivors. 1 man with head injuries was flown to Key West.
From a medical standpoint, I don't expect that he'll be hospitalized all that long, but given the situation of his arrival here, that could make things a little more difficult and prolong it.
Of the others, a woman has a broken collarbone, and everyone else, remarkably, is fine. It's still unclear whether any of the survivors will be granted asylum. Coast Guard and immigration officials are hoping to interview them later today. Andrew Colton, ABC News, Miami.
Forest fires burning near Sydney are casting a haze over the Olympic Games. Although the fires themselves are not putting anyone in danger, the smoke is moving toward the main Olympic stadium, causing organizers some concern. Some athletes may be sensitive to the smoke, especially if they have asthma.
The space shuttle Atlantis landed successfully at Cape Canaveral in Florida. This was only the 15th nighttime landing in space shuttle history, but they're becoming more common now that NASA has a space station in orbit. During their 5 days inside the space station, astronauts and cosmonauts hauled in 3 tons of equipment for their first permanent crew.
Well, today on the Noon Show, we're not going out into space or anything, but we are going to explore the unexplored. Author Todd Balfe will join us to talk about his new book, The Last River, The Tragic Race for Shangri-La. He'll take us to one of the unexplored frontiers in the world.
And we're going to explore what's new in fall fashion. Heather Mitchell from Mode Models will be here talking about the upcoming Holt Renfrew fashion show for breast cancer. Also today, Cheryl Wallach from the Humane Society will join us with a cute and cuddly friend looking for a home. In medical news today, a bombshell in the debate over testing for breast cancer.
For years, women in their 50s have been told regular mammograms are their best defense against dying from the disease. Today, that defense is in serious doubt. A new Canadian study finds mammograms are no more effective than hands-on physical exams. Avis Favreau reports.
Mammograms have become a key tool in screening healthy women, the goal to find tumors when they're small and easily treated. But a controversial Canadian study says that mammograms do not save more lives when compared to a well-done physical breast examination.
It was no benefit in terms of reducing numbers of deaths from breast cancer as a result of using mammography.
The study was a huge endeavor involving over 39,000 Canadian women aged 50 to 59. During the 16 years of study, 622 women were diagnosed with invasive breast cancer using physical exam plus a mammogram every 2 years. 610 women were diagnosed with cancer using a breast exam alone. But by the end of the study, there was no difference in the rate of death from breast cancer. Of the women who had their cancer detected by mammography, 107 had died. Of those who had physical exam only, 105 had died.
You do not need to add mammography to good physical examination.
The key message, say researchers, is that women 50 to 59 now have a choice between a mammogram every 2 years and a skilled annual breast examination. It's a message that's bound to be controversial.
If it doesn't save any more lives than expert clinical examination, we better start having a look at what our basic fundamental concepts are.
But others believe the data gathered in the 1980s may not reflect improved mammograms available today.
Mammography finds small, potentially curable cancers at a greater rate than physical examination alone. So I think, yes, it's wrong. It would be wrong to say there's no additional value.
As well, many doctors and nurses don't spend the 7 to 10 minutes needed to perform a thorough breast exam. Still, this patient advocate says the study, however disturbing, is vital information.
We have a good answer here. Screening using very good, excellent clinical exam of the breast will give you the same bang for your buck as mammography.
But for its part, the Canadian Cancer Society doesn't plan to change its recommendations yet, asking women 50 to 59 to have a mammogram every 2 years, along with monthly breast self-exams. Avis Favreau, CTV News, Toronto.
Australian scientists have made a discovery that could lead to a drug to fight obesity and diabetes. Doctors have identified a new gene responsible for controlling appetite in humans. Now, researchers have named it Beacon, and it's identical in rats and humans. In the study, researchers took rats and put them in an environment where food was abundant. Some ate a lot, got fat, and developed diabetes. Others ate moderately and remained lean. In the obese rats, experts found the Beacon gene was working in overdrive, forming too much of a protein that stimulates appetite. Scientists say that it is now possible that a drug could block the release of this protein. Well, patients who want to improve their smile now have a very clear option. It's an alternative to braces called the Invisalign system. They're a series of disposable plastic retainers prescribed by a doctor and designed by a computer.
Patients love it because they have some control over their treatment. They see the results. They don't have the nuances and the discomforts of the braces.
The aligners rather change every 2 weeks, and both doctors and patients can follow the progress of the teeth on the dentist's website. The system is now being tested in the States, and we will keep you posted as to when it arrives in Calgary.
Not much to smile about in the weather, however, because you did mention that rather grim word that we hear from time to time at this time of year.
That word being?
Snow.
See? Glad he said it. See how I did that? I got him to say that word so that I don't have
pass
to.
The buck. Pass the buck.
That thing that he mentioned is in the forecast starting tonight and through the day tomorrow. Our normal high today would be 17 degrees. We'll be lucky to reach 9. That's the forecast high. It's 7 now. That will probably hit 9 before the cold weather arrives. If it's not cold enough, just wait. The wind is going to pick up from the north mid-afternoon, perhaps about 4 o'clock or so. And when it does, the temperature is going to start to plummet. The rain will be falling by that time, and if it plummets enough, it'll turn to snow. It will turn to snow. It's just a matter of when. I said the word. I was going to go through this whole break without saying that word.
And not calling it the white stuff.
Never do that.
Never do that. Too much of a cliche.
That's right.
Thanks very much. Ever heard about the Sangpo Gorge?
No.
It's a fascinating place, a very dangerous place, and we'll talk about that coming up after the weather.
I was talking to a colleague in Vancouver on the telephone this morning, and I said to him it wouldn't be summer in Calgary if we didn't see snow at least once. We have a couple of days left in summer, and I think we're going to close it out with snow starting tonight. Let's look outside with the CFCN Skywatch camera. And there you go with the cloud cover. It's pretty thick now, and any time it should start precipitating. We'll see some showers developing from the northwest, and they'll move into the city in an hour or two, and it'll be wet from there on in through the afternoon, this evening, and into tomorrow. And the rainfall that will begin is going to end with snow. The snow will start sometime this evening and continue through the day tomorrow. Temperatures tonight will drop to -2, and then for tomorrow we'll just go with flurries. The 4 may be lucky. We might spend most of the day around 0 or 2 degrees with snow flurries falling through the day, and then tomorrow night down to -5. There is better weather on the way after that, though, and we'll get into that with our 5-day forecast just at the end here. 7 degrees is Calgary's temperature now. Wind from the south-southwest at 7 kilometers per hour. Lethbridge at 11. Wind also from the south-southwest, 15 kilometers per hour. But mid-afternoon, we're looking for a wind shift that's going to draw much cooler air into the region. There's the storm there. Plowing in from central BC into southern Alberta. We're on the warm side of the storm now. The cool side's still up around Hinton and Whitecourt, and it's headed this way. And of course, when it does, we'll all notice it mid-afternoon today. We're also seeing some precipitation showing up on the radar in the mountains along the BC-Montana border, just to the west of Cardston through the Crow's Nest Pass. We have some rain showers as well to the northwest of Calgary around Sundre. These are the ones that are going to start moving through the city in a couple of hours or so, and that will be the first indication of the rainfall on the way. You can see scattered showers have developed through central Alberta, and I wouldn't be surprised if these ones west of Rocky Mountain House are already falling in the form of snow flurries. All right, let's take a look at it on the systems map. There you go with those snow flurries there. There's the cold air coming through. It'll be through this afternoon and then head straight down into Montana. Now, the system that generates the precipitation will form north of Calgary and then head south. So we're actually going to luck out. It doesn't sound too lucky getting snow all night tonight and all day tomorrow, but by the time this thing heads into Montana, it could be quite serious. They've issued a winter storm watch for much of the state of Montana, effective tonight and tomorrow. You can see the cold air is already plunging down deep into the U.S. We have single-digit temperatures across the prairies now. Let's look at the whole country here. Fredericton 18, 19 with fog in Halifax. Beautiful day in St. John's, Newfoundland, 22 degrees with sunshine, and it's nice in Ontario and Quebec as well. Temperatures in the mid-20s. But you get into northern Ontario, you run into rainfall at Thunder Bay, clouds in Winnipeg, Saskatoon, and Regina all at 10 degrees. Just cold in Alberta. Edmonton's in the cold air now at 8 degrees, or the cold air is just approaching Edmonton. 5 at Banff, that's more of a function of the elevation as opposed to the cold air mass itself, and 11 degrees for Pincher Creek right now. And in British Columbia, we've got cool weather and wet weather. 15 with rain in Vancouver, light rain in Kelowna, clouds in 9 in Prince George. Here's the forecaster. Precipitation on our doorstep. Here it comes about 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then it just sticks around. By this evening, all of southern Alberta should be either raining or snowing or in a mixed rain and snow situation. Snow continues through the night and into tomorrow. Could be heavy at times along the Montana border. As I mentioned, that is where the winter storm watch has been issued. For northern Alberta, mix of sun and cloud tomorrow, 8 degrees. This will be the best place in the province as far as the weather is concerned. Fort McMurray, snow and 3. Central Alberta will also see some snow flurries, maybe some sunny breaks in Edmonton, but a high of only 4, just 3 for Red Deer and Banff. Maybe sunny breaks in Jasper, and if they get the sunshine there, it should go all the way up to 5 big degrees. 12 for Cranbrook, 5 for Lethbridge and Medicine Hat with a mix of rain and snow there, but Calgary won't be warm enough. We'll probably see flurries all day long tomorrow. Here's the forecast looking ahead at the next 5 days. Today, showers and 9, turning to snow overnight tonight. Snowing tomorrow, 4 degrees. See, told you it got better after that. Friday up to 12, 14 and 16 for Saturday and Sunday with mainly sunny conditions and just some of that high, thin cloud. But we have to get through tomorrow before we can get there.
Didn't you like the way David put that? That we just have to have snow in order to make it a typical summer.
Yeah, I guess so. That's Calgary.
Positive spin.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that is the way it is in Calgary.
Exactly. So it's not. It's all good.
It's
right?
all good
there
in the
you
long
go.
run.
Okay. There's still lots more to come on the noon show today, including what is hot in fall fashions. But first, here is a look at today's market numbers.
We have an update now on our top story. Eric Lamaze says he will not appeal a decision banning him from the Sydney Olympics. Lamaze says he accepts the Canadian Olympic Association's judgment. But at a news conference in Toronto just a few minutes ago, Lamaze would not back down from his stance that he should be competing, and he thanked everyone who has backed him.
My clients that have stood by me, my friends, you don't go through something like that on your own. And anybody close to you that has something positive to tell you every day, it means so much. The phone calls that I've received, the letters from fans, and the support that I get. To get up in the morning and have something positive to hear over the phone makes your day.
Lamaze isn't going to the Olympics, but he will take part in a charity show jump in southern Ontario this weekend. Well, there are still a handful of unexplored frontiers in the world, places too dangerous for people to conquer. One of them is the Sangpo Gorge, a powerful whitewater river in the Himalayan mountains of Tibet. The Last River, The Tragic Race for Shangri-La by Todd Balfe examines the power of the Sangpo Gorge. Balfe follows an ill-fated American kayak expedition to the river. And joining us is the author, Todd Balfe. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, there are plenty of comparisons of this book with Into Thin Air, the book about the ill-fated trip up Everest. And obviously there are some similarities here. Similar part of the world, also events where Americans died. Tell us, why do people keep going to these deadly places? And don't tell us because it's there.
Because it's there, right? No, I think in this case it's about exploration. You know, this is a unique place. It has never been mapped. It's never been fully explored. It has been dangled out there since the turn of the century as a place that is important to Tibetan Buddhists, as this vastly powerful place for their spirituality. It's also a place that is said to have a waterfall, a massive waterfall on a scale of Niagara Falls within it that has never been found. So there is a romance associated with this place that goes beyond simply the physical challenge of going down these enormous rapids, which is a little bit what this expedition went through.
Now we have some video actually of that area. Give us a sense of what it's like there. Well, first of all, why has no one been able to map it?
Well, because it is so deep, and so it's 3 miles deep in its deepest part. So that's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
And it has sheer walls that pinch it to only a couple hundred yards across in some places. So it's covered by perpetual cloud cover. So satellite imagery can't even get good shots of this place. You cannot walk through the innermost part of the gorge. You can see how difficult it is to paddle through sections of this gorge, and again, they don't know what's around the corner in some of these places in the gorge.
Now, throughout the book you talk about the various levels of rapids, class 4, class 5. This is at the absolute top. Tell us what kind of expertise it would require to negotiate those waves.
Well, it requires an immense psychological capability to be able to handle the stress that you have of not only really challenging this kind of water. The actual speed of the river is somewhere between 15 and 20 miles per hour, which is ferocious. The whole middle part of this river is almost unrunnable. So what you have to do is try to work the edges of the river. You get into the middle of the river, and then you're in a lot of trouble. So that is a big problem. And this is what these guys encountered on the expedition.
Well, there's one person in this expedition who did pass away. I believe his body has never been found.
That's right.
He was just swept away. Plenty of people have died on Everest as well, but you're suggesting in some circumstances this is more dangerous than Everest, right?
Well, it is in the sense that it's like Everest was in the 1950s. Everest had not yet been conquered in the 1950s, and people didn't know, was Everest, could you climb Everest and get to the top, or would you just drop dead because of the lack of oxygen at altitude? People had basic questions that they didn't know about Everest back in the 50s. The same thing holds for this gorge. They do not know what is in the deepest part of that gorge, and because it hasn't been mapped, so there is just not an understanding of whether this is doable or not. And in that case, it really is about some of the epic adventures of the 20th century, from going to the South Pole or going to the North Pole. It's that sort of level of challenge.
Doug Gordon, the paddler who dies as a result of this expedition, had a family that he left behind. He had 2 kids and a wife that he left behind in the States. It must have given you some thoughts about selfishness, pursuing goals, getting into a folly like this.
Sure.
What perspective have you come out of it?
Well, I think I have some experience in adventuring too. I have a family. I have kids roughly the same age as his kids. So that was a bit of for me, it was very personal in that sense of, I know what it feels. I know what it feels like to go out on these adventures. I know that pull that has on myself. And while what I've done is small scale compared to what these guys were attempting, I think I understood the wrestle that you have with that. That this is adventuring is a part of who you are. It's a part of who his wife married. She knew to some extent what she was getting into with this type of person, and she loved him because of that. And yet, an expedition of this of this nature is a challenge that nobody, is as extreme as you can get.
Mm-hmm. Well, it will be interesting to see if someone actually does make it.
Maybe a while, yeah.
Okay, thanks very much for
All
coming
right,
in.
thank you for having me.
Todd Belf's new book is The Last River, and he will give a presentation tonight based on that book at Pages on Kensington. The event is free. It begins at 7:30.
Well, yesterday on the Noon Show, we told you about hairstyles and colors that are hot this fall. Today, we'll have some of the cool fashions you may want to have in your closet. But first, here are some websites you can check out the next time you're online.
Hundreds of young girls auditioned in Chicago today for a movie about the life of Shirley Temple.
Lollipop, it's a sweet trip to the candy shop where fun ones play.
The auditions are for a Disney TV movie which will air next year. Auditions are being held nationwide and the competition is fierce. This is only round one, and if they pick some of the girls in Chicago, they will have to compete with other children from around the United States.
My goodness, how cute is that? Well, yesterday on the Noon Show, we gave you a preview of the hot new hairstyles for fall. And today, the focus is on clothes. And joining me now to talk more about what's hot and what's not, Heather Mitchell from Mode Models. Thanks so much for coming in today, Heather. Before we get to the wonderful clothes, and they are great, I had a sneak peek just earlier. They're looking awesome. Let's just talk a bit about the Holt Renfrew fashion show that's taking place this Friday. It's all in support of breast cancer, right?
Absolutely. It's in support of the Breast Cancer Foundation of Alberta. And we're putting on a wicked show. It's called the Holt Renfrew Fall Gala, Fall Fashion Gala. And what we're doing is a beautiful show full of fantastic fashions, everything from Dolce & Gabbana to Celine, and beautiful, beautiful pieces.
And some hot local names are going to be modeling in that. We had a few of them on our show.
Absolutely.
Paul Green is one of them, Kim Renenberg. So a lot of people would like to come out and see that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Let's just talk briefly before we get to the first outfit about what's the biggest surprise we're going to see this fall. What's going to be the biggest difference?
Oh, it is just absolutely maximized. Everything is just over the top. So everything that you saw on the runway, all the gold, all the diamonds, everything is just over the top. Furs layered over top of beautiful blouses. It's a total return to 80s glam, which is fantastic.
Lots and lots of luxury. Okay, let's take a look at our first model, and I'll let you detail exactly what she's wearing.
This is Jenna Lynn, and what I've taken is a blouse here from, this is from Tristan in America at South Centre, and that is a pleather pant, and they've done some amazing things with pleather right now. And I've added a little rhinestone belt there to her to make her a little more rock star glam. And with the 80s chic thing, I mean, we can't really wear all of that to work. So what I've done is just taken a few bits and added it to spice it up and make it more 80s. And a clutch is definitely something that is hot, hot, hot for fall. And she's carrying a silver clutch there.
It's a gorgeous look, but we could probably wear that to work if we threw a jacket on it. Would that work?
Absolutely. Or take off the belt, or you know, something long, and then add it again for evening. It's, it's a wicked look.
Let's talk about colors for the fall. I know red is hot, hot, hot.
Red, browns, earth tones are very hot as well. That beautiful mahogany brown sort of a color for shoes and footwear is really, really hot as well. Anything that's a red, a rich, deep blood red is really hot too. And yeah.
What is driving this return to glam? What is making us go in this direction?
You know, 90s we were completely minimal, completely all in black, very slim pants. Everything was black on top of black on top of black. And I think what we've done is we've come full swing around. We're sick of it. There hasn't been any good shopping, and so now we're going for the gusto and heading into the 80s glam.
For the new millennium.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going crazy.
We're swung around the other way. Everyone thought we'd be flying around in spaceships and wearing spacesuits, but no, No, we've gone back to the 80s and 70s.
Let's talk about fabrics, because you were talking about pleather earlier. That is hot, 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 as is leather.
Leathers and furs and suede and crocodile, mock croc, and that sort of thing as well. Danya's got some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful leathers in right now, and everything from, and wearing leather over top of leather over top of leather
is good?
Oh, absolutely.
It's acceptable?
Absolutely. It's not just one piece anymore. You can wear the whole outfit from head to toe leather. Ostrich skin is totally hot.
And what are we seeing that in? We're seeing it in cloth materials as well. It's everywhere, on handbags, on shoes. I'm seeing it everywhere, right?
Absolutely. Handbags and shoes. I mean, if you only buy one handbag, it should be some sort of a croc or some sort of a print, some sort of a snake print, a reptile skin of some sort. Or ostrich is really, really big right now, too.
On shoes, on bags, on the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
What about the skirt lengths? What are we seeing this year?
Skirt length, you want to go either very, very long, past your ankles, so your skirt is almost trailing to the floor, or you want to go the opposite. We've seen a lot of minis on the runway, so really short skirts from Dolce & Gabbana. But I think probably a good knee length for most people. Oh, this is a great length right there. This is almost to the floor. Jenna Lynn wasn't so darn tall.
Oh, that would be rough, wouldn't it?
Yes, and plaids are very, very hot right now.
Plaid's back this year.
Absolutely, plaid. Highlander sort of a feel.
Yes.
And that's a blanket wrap skirt that she's got on there with her cute little Mary Jane on her foot.
Let's see those shoes.
And that's a great brown color there as well. And those are from Browns.
The
red as well.
And
very,
what about the shirts?
The shirts, well, I mean, back to the 80s thing, having that little bow tie around your neck, but with this shirt, the bracelet length sleeve is very, very hot. And this is from Tristan in America as well at South Centre. But the blanket wrap with the tartan is very, very cool.
Now, for all of us looking at this going, wow, we love it, but it's going to cost a few bucks. How do we update our wardrobe? Are there a few pieces that are must-haves that will give us an updated look?
Well, what you want to do right now is update your wardrobe with accessories. So, and just the way that you wear things as well. So if you're wearing your a shirt, open a couple more buttons, show off a little more cleavage, and tuck it in and add a little belt, add a little gold belt. Holtz has got some beautiful gold belts right now. That are just absolutely stunning. You can add them over top of jeans, over top of your skirts, over top of any sort of an outfit. This outfit.
It'll work. It'll all work. So just a few little tricks to update it. Some of the prints, maybe the handbags, and
yeah,
give you an
print,
updated look.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Heather, thanks so much for taking the time to come in and update us on the new fall looks today. And just a reminder, everybody, the Holt Renfrew Fall 2000 Fashion Show and Gala will be taking place this Friday. That's September the 22nd. There will be a luncheon from 12 to 1:30. And there's also a second show for the dinner reception that starts at 6:30. Tickets are still available. The number to call, 264-2106. Of course, all the proceeds go to the Dr. Peter Geggy Memorial Breast Cancer Research Fund.
And still to come on the Noon Show, we'll meet Sophie. She's a 6-year-old cross who needs a good home. And Cheryl Wallach will tell us all about her. Coming up. Well, here's a shaggy dog tale, or at least a shaggy dog. Sophie is an old English sheepdog cross. She's 6-year-old and came into the Humane Society as a stray, and Cheryl Wallach is here to tell us all about her. She reminds me of an animated dog in one of those Disney movies. I can't remember which one it was.
She does, and someone else said to me that there's a video we use for the kids in schools that has a little dog puppet.
Yep.
And she looks just like him as well. But I was thinking, old English sheepdog crossed with something, and I'm thinking, well, maybe Otterhound's in there somewhere. She really reminds me of an Otterhound, which most people wouldn't recognize, but they're not super common. But the coloring's quite similar in the shape. But she has had a haircut, so you're looking at old English sheepdogs with the huge amounts of hair in real life.
Well, there's the thing. People wonder about how these sheepdogs can see because they have the hair coming way over their eyes, right?
Yeah, it was partially for protection from the elements.
Oh, okay.
But what you want to do is make sure they get nice little haircuts and things. So throw her treat over that way and get her to turn around and look at the camera because she's so cute.
And as we can see, she is a very friendly and upbeat kind of dog, eh?
Very energetic. Some people think, oh, 6 is so old, especially for a larger breed dog, but she's going to defy that completely because this is a goer. She's a goer, this dog. And she knows to sit.
Yep.
Sit. She says,
hey, there you go. Well
shake.
done.
Good dog.
Yeah.
Lie down. Good
Excellent.
job. See, someone's done some stuff with her.
Yeah, very well trained.
and very enthusiastic about doing it. Not necessarily, you know, I have a dog that kind of goes, okay. She's like, all right, let's go.
She's raring to go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, she needs a bit of dental work done, right?
She does, and we can do that work at the shelter. You know, she's gotten to that age where she needs some stuff done. It'll be $100 in addition to your $50 adoption fee, or $55 adoption fee, rather. So $155 total to adopt this dog. And of course, you know, she's already spayed. We've given her her first set of shots, deworming, all that kind of stuff.
She's got a good start in life.
Exactly.
We should talk about the cat you brought in last week, Picasso. Is Picasso still looking for a home?
Definitely not.
No.
Picasso was extremely popular. Gorgeous, gorgeous boy. And it took him longer to be adopted than I thought it would. He went home on Friday, you know, but so many people phoned, but I think everyone just assumed he's gone. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, don't make that assumption. Call. Call or come to the shelter.
And just one more thing we should mention before you go is your dog jog coming up quite soon.
This Sunday.
Yep.
So if you're interested, phone us and register. You still have time to collect some pledges. If you didn't want to collect pledges, you can make a donation at the jog and take your dog for the walk then.
And which park is it at?
Fish Creek Park, Glenfield area.
Oh, yeah. Great area. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yep. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
Good luck,
you.
Sophie. I'm sure Sophie will go home pretty soon. And as usual, here's where you can get more information about the Humane Society. Perhaps adopt Sophie if you're interested, and call to take any of the animals home, 250-7722.
Oh, Sophie will go quick. She's just too cute. Well, it may be hard to believe, but in Texas, you can't drink the milk from another person's cow. Go figure. We'll take a look at some of the other bizarre laws still on the books, but first, here's a look at today's job board.
Looking ahead to some of the stories we'll have today on our news at 5 and 6. There's an expansion underway in Calgary that nobody wants. The Sheriff King home for battered women is adding some space. We'll examine why this expansion is needed today at 5.
And tonight on our news at 6 o'clock, members of Calgary's Latin American community met with Police Chief Christine Silverberg. They'll give her a petition asking for police to drop charges against Juan Melendez. He's a Calgary man accused of assaulting a police officer. We'll have that story and more tonight on our news at 6 o'clock.
It's rather gray outside in Calgary now, and pretty soon it may get white.
Snowy.
Yes. And
say it, snowy.
It's snow. Here's David with an update from our weather center.
Well, the rain gets underway early this afternoon, and then as the day progresses and the temperature falls, that rain slowly turns to snow flurries. We'll have mixed precipitation late this afternoon and this evening, overnight down to -2, -1 for Lethbridge, 0 for Medicine Hat, -3 in Banff, showers in Cranbrook and 4. And then tomorrow it looks like it's just going to remain snow flurries all day long. 3 degrees for Banff, 4 if we're lucky in Calgary, 5 for Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Cranbrook, 11, I stay 12 degrees. But if we can get through tomorrow, we'll be in for some warmer weather after that. Let's take a look at our current conditions.
Thanks, David. Well, most of us try our best to obey the law, but some laws are just impossible to follow, especially in Texas. Ted Ishler explains.
We all know how important it is to obey the law, but some laws are just plain dumb. And the website dumblaws.com has them all. Click on Texas and you'll find that it's illegal to milk another person's cow. And the Encyclopedia Britannica is banned in Texas because it contains a formula for making beer at home. But the law is the law, so let's make sure there aren't any unknowing criminals out there. Supposedly, a Texas law says a person cannot go barefoot without first obtaining a special $5 permit. So, only outlaws have bare feet. So notice the bare feet. Do you have your barefoot permit?
No.
You don't have the barefoot permit,
What's the barefoot permit?
Well, supposedly you're supposed to have a permit if you're walking around with bare feet. Aren't you concerned about being this close to the road that the police may see you, come over here, hop the fence, and wrestle you to the ground with these bare feet?
I never thought about that.
You wouldn't wrestle them to the ground, chase after them, do all the things that maybe you should do to take care of those people?
Oh, no, I'd probably try to find them some shoes.
It's also illegal for one to shoot at buffalo from the second story of a hotel. But are hotels complying? Have you ever had anyone shoot a buffalo from the second story of the hotel? No. Okay, so if someone does come into your hotel and wants to shoot a buffalo off the second floor, tell them to go to the third floor.
I'm going to send him on 3rd floor.
And in Texas, you can be legally married by publicly introducing a person as your husband or wife 3 times. You guys aren't married right now, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. We just want to do a little experiment here.
This is my wife, Laura Gracia. Nice to meet you. And this is my wife, Laura Gracia. Jesse Gracia. This is my wife, Laura Gracia.
Number 3, that was the magic number. Here we go. All right. Congratulations. Great. How do you feel, huh?
Great.
Dumb laws can bring people together.
Okay.
Everybody's still a little confused. I'm thinking that Ted Ischler, he has a little too much time on his hands.
Yeah, not enough serious news going on down there, I guess. Well, moving on to domestic matters, the Calgary Home and Interior Design Show is coming this Thursday. It runs throughout the weekend, and we're offering you a chance to go as a family to the event. A family pass can be yours if you're the 3rd caller at 1-800-482-4933.
That's all our time today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.